The human city was quiet that morning, though above the skyline, shadows of alien ships hung like thunderclouds waiting to strike. People below whispered and pointed, fear running through every street. They had heard rumors of the alien fleets, but now they were real massive black ships with glowing blue lights crawling across the sky. Inside a small apartment, a young man named Daniel woke up to the sound of trembling glass. His window rattled, and when he pushed it open, his eyes widened. Dozens of alien crafts hovered like predators circling prey. He had no weapon, no plan, only confusion. The world was about to change, and he was caught in the middle. Suddenly, a knock shook his door, sharp and commanding. Daniel froze, his breath shallow. He wasn't expecting anyone. The door slid open before he could move, and a figure stepped in. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen, a young alien woman with crimson skin, hair as white as snow, and eyes that glowed faintly like molten fire. She wore a sleek armored suit, black and silver, fitting her frame with elegance and power. Daniel's first thought was that she had come to kill him. His heart hammered as he stepped back, but she didn't raise a weapon. Instead, she smirked, the corner of her lips curving in a way that made her beauty both intimidating and strange. "You are the one," she said softly, her voice smooth but carrying a command that left no room for doubt. Daniel blinked. "The one? What? I think you've got the wrong guy." She stepped closer, her boots clicking on the floor, her presence filling the room like a storm. "Human," she said, her tone sharper now. "You have been chosen. Our council has matched me with you. Your duties begin today." Daniel stared at her as if she had just spoken madness. Chosen? Matched? What was she talking about? Out there, the sky was full of warships ready to bring fire, and here in his apartment stood a beautiful alien warrior declaring that he was part of it. He swallowed hard. "Listen, I'm not anyone important. I'm just me." "Why would you pick me?" Her glowing eyes narrowed. "Not picked, matched. There's no choice. The system is never wrong." Behind her, through the window, Daniel saw one of the alien ships firing a warning blast, shaking a tower in the distance. The war was real, and it was starting. Yet, somehow, this alien girl was talking about something else, something personal. Something that made less sense than the war itself. Daniel tried to laugh, but it came out broken. "I don't even know your name." She tilted her head, almost amused. "You may call me Serenia." Her voice carried pride, and the way she stood told him she was no ordinary soldier. Her armor gleamed, her movements precise, every part of her speaking of discipline and strength. But that smirk, that constant smirk, made it feel like she enjoyed his confusion. "What do you want from me?" Daniel asked, his voice shaking now. Serenia leaned closer, her face only inches from his, her glowing eyes locking on his. "I want you to do your duty. To stand by me. To obey when I command. And to survive the storm that is coming." Daniel's thoughts spun. Obey? Stand by her? Why him? Thousands of humans were out there, yet she had walked straight into his home. The weight of the unknown pressed against him, and for the first time, he wondered if survival meant surrendering to whatever she demanded. A distant explosion thundered, shaking the walls. Daniel's instincts screamed at him to run, but his legs wouldn't move. Serenia reached out and touched his chest, not roughly but firmly, as if marking him. Her skin was warm despite its strange red color. "From this moment," she said, "you are mine. The war will decide much, but our bond is sealed. You may resist, you may question, but you cannot escape it." Daniel wanted to deny it, to scream at her, to tell her she was wrong. But as her hand lingered, something in the air shifted. It wasn't just words, it felt real, binding, as if unseen chains had already closed around him. He stepped back, his mind racing, but Serenia only smirked again, turning toward the window. Outside, alien ships moved in perfect formation, preparing for the strike. "The unexpected war has begun," she said calmly. Then she looked back at him, her smirk softening just enough to carry something dangerous, something personal. "And so have you." Daniel knew in that moment his life would never return to normal. Whether he wanted it or not, he had been dragged into a war, into her world, and into something deeper he couldn't yet name. The sky cracked with fire again. And this time, Daniel realized he was no longer just a witness. He was part of it. The streets below were chaos. Sirens wailed, people ran in every direction, and the sky burned as alien ships moved like predators closing in. Daniel gripped the edge of his window, his pulse racing, while behind him Serenia stood calm, her glowing eyes watching the fire spread. "Why are you so calm?" Daniel asked, his voice sharp with panic. "Your people are attacking us. Don't you see? This is war." Serenia tilted her head, her silver hair shifting slightly as the light from outside caught it. "It is not war," she said, her voice steady. "It is correction. The galaxy has judged, and your kind must adapt or perish." Daniel's mouth went dry. He felt small, like a piece of debris waiting to be swept away in the storm. "And what does that have to do with me? Why me?" She turned to him fully, stepping closer. Her armored suit made a faint hum, energy lines glowing brighter across her chest and arms. "Because human, when war comes, not every weapon is forged of metal. Some bonds shape destinies. You were matched because the system saw value in you, something hidden, something no soldier or machine could replace." Her words didn't comfort him. If anything, they made his chest heavier. He had never been special. He worked, he lived, he survived. Nothing more. And yet here she was, speaking as if he carried some secret power. The building shook again. A deafening crash echoed as a nearby tower split, sending glass and steel tumbling to the streets below. Daniel flinched, but Serenia barely moved. Her calm unnerved him. "What exactly are these?" "Duties?" Daniel asked, his voice tight. "What are you expecting me to do? Bow? Fight? Be your servant?" Serenia smirked at the word. "Not servant, partner. A match is more than obedience. It is survival, yours and mine." Before Daniel could answer, the apartment door burst open again. 3 alien soldiers stepped in, their armor bulkier than hers, their weapons glowing faint blue. Their helmets covered their faces, making them look like machines. One raised his weapon toward Daniel instantly. "Target identified," a robotic voice growled. Daniel's heart stopped. He staggered back, but Serenia raised her hand with authority. "Stand down," she commanded. The soldiers froze. For a moment, Daniel thought they might ignore her. But then, almost reluctantly, they lowered their weapons. "This human," Serenia declared, her voice carrying iron, "is mine. By bond and by council decree. Harm him, and you will answer to me." The soldiers hesitated, then gave a stiff nod before stepping aside. They didn't argue, didn't question. That scared Daniel more than the weapons. They obeyed her without hesitation. As the soldiers left, Daniel's knees nearly gave out. He leaned against the wall, his voice shaking. "They were going to kill me." Serenia glanced at him, her smirk fading into something colder. "Of course. You are human. Most of them see you as expendable, weak, but the system matched me to you, and that changes everything. From now on, your survival depends on how well you accept this bond." Daniel's chest rose and fell quickly. His mind wanted to deny it all, but his body knew the truth. Without her, he'd already be dead. "Why protect me at all?" he asked, his voice raw. For the first time, Serenia's expression softened, not a smile, but something almost thoughtful. "Because if you fall, so do I. That is what it means to be matched." The weight of her words hit him. It wasn't just about him anymore. Somehow this bond tied them both together. His choices, his survival, it all mattered to her as much as it did to him. Daniel's stomach twisted. He didn't ask for this. He didn't want it. But the fire outside reminded him he might not have a choice. A rumble shook the apartment again, stronger this time. The skyline lit up with blinding blue as one of the alien ships unleashed a massive energy beam. Whole blocks vanished in light and smoke. The sound was like the sky tearing apart. Daniel covered his ears, his heart pounding. Serenia, however, looked toward the destruction with calm determination. She touched the side of her armor, and a faint holographic map appeared before her eyes. "We move now," she said firmly. "If we stay, you will die. Come." Daniel blinked, sweat dripping from his face. "Where are we going?" Serenia stepped toward the door, her eyes glowing brighter. "To safety. To my ship. And to the first test of your bond." Her words chilled him. Test? He was no soldier. But the fire outside, the smoldering ruins, and the soldiers who had nearly executed him made it clear he had no other path. He stumbled forward, following her as the hallway filled with dust and smoke. Serenia's presence was unshaken, like a shield cutting through chaos. For Daniel, each step felt heavier, as if invisible chains bound him closer to her. He didn't know what his duties were yet, but one truth settled deep in his mind. He could run from war, he could hide from the ships, but he could not escape Serenia, and part of him feared. He didn't want to. The stairwell was filled with smoke and dust as Daniel followed Serenia down, his lungs burning with every breath. The walls groaned under the weight of collapsing beams, and the sound of distant screams carried upward. He wanted to stop, to hide, but the alien girl moved with certainty, never once slowing. Her glowing eyes cut through the haze as if she could see paths invisible to him. She pushed open a side door, leading him into a parking garage half shattered by falling debris. Metal beams lay twisted across the floor, cars overturned and burning. "Where are we going?" Daniel asked, coughing hard. "To prove yourself," Serenia answered simply, her voice steady even in chaos. "Every bond begins with a trial. If you fail, the match dissolves, and so do we." Daniel froze, his throat dry. "Wait, dissolve? As in, dead?" Serenia didn't answer. She didn't need to. The look she gave him was enough. Before he could argue, the ground shook violently. From the shadows of the ruined garage, something stirred. A towering machine, black and silver, its joints glowing blue, stepped forward. It was twice the height of a man, its sharp arms ending in glowing blades. Daniel's heart plummeted. "What is that?" Serenia's smirk returned, cold and sharp. "Your test." The machine's head swiveled toward Daniel, locking on him. It let out a low mechanical growl before lunging forward. Daniel stumbled back, his chest tight with panic. "Are you insane? I can't fight that thing." He shouted. "You can," Serenia said, not moving to help. "The system matched you for a reason. Find it." Daniel's mind screamed in terror as the machine's blade cut across the floor, sparks flying. He dove behind an overturned car, his breath ragged. His hands trembled, searching for anything to defend himself with. A broken pipe lay on the ground. He snatched it up, though it felt like a toothpick against the monster. The machine swung again, slicing through the car with ease. Daniel barely rolled away in time, the pipe clattering from his hands. He scrambled, dirt and sweat covering him, his chest pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. "This is suicide," he yelled. Serenia crossed her arms, her silver hair catching the faint light. "No, human, this is revelation." Daniel's vision blurred with fear, but then something strange happened. As the machine advanced, its glowing eyes flickered. A spark of pain shot through Daniel's head, sharp and sudden, like a voice whispering at the edge of his thoughts. His grip tightened. He didn't understand it, but he felt it like he could sense the machine's movements a split second before they happened, when it lunged again. Daniel ducked instinctively, rolling aside before the blade struck. His body moved faster than his fear allowed. Another swing, another dodge. He wasn't fighting, but he was surviving. The pipe lay within reach again. He grabbed it, spun, and slammed it into the machine's leg joint. Sparks erupted, and for the first time, the machine staggered. Daniel's heart leapt. "I heard it." Serenya's smirk widened. "Good, now finish it." The machine roared and struck down harder, its blades smashing the ground, but Daniel was already moving. He darted under its arm, every step guided by that strange whisper in his mind. He slammed the pipe into the glowing joint again, harder this time, and the machine buckled. The floor shook as it fell to one knee. Daniel didn't stop. He jumped onto its back, swinging the pipe with all his strength against the glowing core at its spine. The machine howled in static, sparks exploding outward. With a final desperate strike, the pipe pierced the core, and the machine collapsed in a heap of fire and smoke. Daniel rolled off, gasping, his whole body trembling. Silence followed, broken only by his ragged breathing. Serenia stepped forward, her boots echoing softly. She looked down at him, her glowing eyes sharp. "You see now. The bond has awakened." Daniel lay on the ground, panting. What was that? How did I do that?" Serenia crouched beside him, her voice calm but edged with pride. "The match is more than ritual. It unlocks what lies dormant. You fought not with strength, but with instinct, shared instinct. That is why you were chosen." Daniel shook his head. His arms ached, his lungs burned, but deep inside, he couldn't deny it. Something had changed. For the first time, he'd fought back against the impossible and lived, but fear still gnawed at him. "So, if I hadn't? If I failed?" Serenia's smirk faded into something colder. "Then we both would have been erased. The system allows no weakness." Daniel's blood chilled. This wasn't just about him anymore. Their lives were tied together. She rose, offering her hand to him. "You survived the first trial. That means you are mine, and I am yours. From here on, your duties begin in truth." Daniel hesitated, staring at her hand, then slowly took it. Her grip was strong, pulling him to his feet. Outside, the war still raged. But inside Daniel's chest, something new stirred. A bond he never asked for, yet one he could no longer deny. Serenia's eyes glowed brighter as she whispered, almost to herself, "The galaxy will learn what a human match can do." Daniel shivered, realizing his fight had only just begun. The rain began to fall as they emerged from the ruined city. Soft drops hissing against the scorched streets. Smoke curled through the night sky, glowing orange from distant fires. Daniel's legs ached, but he followed Serenia in silence. Still shaken from the battle with the machine, her ship waited on a collapsed highway, a sleek black vessel with silver runes glowing faintly along its sides. It looked both ancient and advanced, like something built by hands that had long forgotten fear. When the ramp lowered, Daniel hesitated, glancing back at his destroyed city. Everything he had known was gone, Serenia noticed. "Do not look behind," she said. "The past is already burned." Daniel swallowed hard, stepping onto the ramp. The inside of her ship was cold and quiet, lit by blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Strange symbols floated in the air, reacting to her movements as she walked. "You said my duties begin now," Daniel muttered. "What does that mean exactly?" Serenia didn't turn. "Every matched pair serves the Council of Unity. You are bound to me as I am to you. That bond has purpose." She stopped at a console glowing with alien text. With a flick of her wrist, a projection appeared, dozens of planets, stars, and battle routes. The galaxy was at war, far beyond anything Daniel could imagine. "This," she said, gesturing toward the map, is what your species never understood. The war you see on Earth is only the smallest ripple. The real storm is above. Daniel stared at the map, overwhelmed. And you're fighting in it? Her eyes glowed faintly. I was. Until the match. He frowned. You mean, this whole bond thing pulled you out of battle? Serenia turned, her gaze meeting his. No, it made me something more valuable. A matched warrior is more than a soldier. It is a bridge. You are now my counterpart, the one meant to balance what I am. Daniel let out a shaky laugh. Balance? I can't even hold a pipe straight. Her lips curved into a small smirk. You underestimate what you carry, human. The system never errs. Before he could reply, the ship shuddered. Red lights flashed across the console. Serenia's expression darkened. They found us. Who? Daniel asked, gripping the wall. Hunters, she said, moving quickly to the pilot's seat. Those who reject the Council's match system. They see humans as filth unworthy of bond. The ship's engines roared to life. Outside, streaks of light cut through the clouds as smaller alien crafts appeared. Fast and deadly, Daniel's heart slammed in his chest. What do we do? Serenia's hands moved fast across glowing controls. You do what I tell you. Nothing more. The ship jerked forward, weaving through collapsing towers. Explosions flashed behind them as enemy ships fired. Daniel held onto the seat beside her, every nerve screaming. The ship twisted violently, diving through smoke and debris. One of the hunters appeared on their flank, its guns glowing bright. Serenia's jaw tightened. Brace yourself. She spun the ship hard, cutting power for a split second. Gravity vanished. Daniel felt his stomach rise as everything turned upside down. The ship then roared back to life, spinning around the enemy and blasting it apart with a precise plasma shot. Daniel crashed to the floor, gasping. You could have warned me. I did, she said calmly. I said brace yourself. Even through the chaos, Daniel couldn't help a faint, breathless laugh. She was impossible deadly, beautiful, and terrifyingly sure of herself. The last of the enemy ships vanished in the clouds, leaving silence behind. Serenia slowed the craft and finally turned to him. You handled that better than most humans would. Mostly because I didn't die, Daniel muttered. Serenia's smirk returned. That's progress. She stood and motioned him to follow her deeper into the ship. They entered a narrow chamber lined with strange glass pods and faint energy fields. Symbols glowed on the floor in a circular pattern. This is the heart chamber, Serenia said. Every matched pair must link here. It is how the bond stabilizes between species. Daniel frowned. Link? What kind of link? Her gaze softened, though her voice stayed firm. It connects our minds and instincts. It ensures that when one faces danger, the other feels it. It is not control, it is unity. He hesitated. And if I refuse? Serenia stepped closer, her eyes glowing brighter, her tone quiet but heavy. Then your mind will break when the bond deepens on its own. It is safer if I guide it. Daniel's breath caught as the energy around the chamber began to rise, a low hum filling the air. The runes on the floor pulsed brighter. Step into the circle, she said softly. It will not harm you. He hesitated, but something in her voice steady, almost protective made him trust her. Slowly, he stepped into the glowing ring. Serenia joined him, standing opposite. The air shimmered. The lights grew blinding. Daniel felt his heartbeat sync with something powerful and ancient. His chest tightened, his vision flickered, and then he saw flashes, images not his own, worlds burning, stars collapsing, alien warriors kneeling before Serenia, and then her alone, standing against endless darkness. He gasped and fell to his knees as the visions faded. Serenia knelt beside him, her hand on his shoulder. Her voice was calm but softer than before. The link is now complete. You are bound to me. My strength will protect you, but your will must protect me. Daniel looked up at her, still shaking. I saw your memories. She nodded slowly. And I saw yours. For a long moment, neither spoke. The silence between them was heavy, but no longer cold. Something had changed again, deeper, stronger. Outside, lightning split the clouds. And for the first time, Daniel wasn't afraid. The next morning, the ship floated quietly above the clouds. The world below was covered in thick gray mist, the fires from the war hidden beneath it. Daniel sat near the viewing glass, staring at the endless horizon. His thoughts were a blur, his home destroyed, his world burning, and now somehow he was tied to a beautiful alien warrior who spoke of destiny as if it were law. Serenia entered the chamber, her movements silent and graceful. Her armor was removed now, replaced by a sleek dark uniform that made her look more like a leader than a soldier. Her glowing eyes met his for a brief second. You didn't sleep. Daniel forced a tired smile. Kind of hard to sleep when you've just been linked to someone from another species. Her lips curved faintly. You will adjust. Humans are adaptable. That's one reason you were chosen. He turned toward her, curious. Chosen by who exactly? You said a council, but I still don't understand what they want. Serenia's expression darkened slightly. The Council of Unity governs all bonded pairs. They claim the match system ensures balance across species. But lately, they have become corrupt. They choose matches to serve power, not harmony. Daniel frowned. So you don't trust them? Her silence was answer enough. Moments later, the console in front of her flashed red. A symbol appeared, a circular crest surrounded by alien runes. Serenia's posture stiffened. They found us. Before Daniel could speak, a deep voice echoed through the ship's comms. It wasn't human. It carried weight, authority, and something colder than steel. Commander Serenia of House Vareth. You have violated the Council's command by engaging a human bond without authorization. Surrender yourself and the subject. Daniel felt his stomach drop. They're talking about me, aren't they? Yes, she said quietly. They see you as a breach. They do not believe humans deserve matches. The voice continued. Failure to comply will result in termination. Both of you. Serenia stepped forward, her eyes blazing. You dare threaten a sanctioned match? The system itself approved this bond. A pause followed, then the voice replied, calm but cruel. The system has been corrected. Your bond is now void. The human is to be destroyed. Daniel froze. Wait, what? Before he could process the words, the ship shook violently. Outside, enormous golden ships broke through the clouds, Council enforcement cruisers. They moved like blades through the air, surrounding them. Serenia's hands moved fast across the controls. Strap in. They won't reason. Can't we talk to them? Daniel shouted. She shot him a look. You think reason matters to tyrants? The engines roared as Serenia jerked the ship upward. Energy beams tore through the clouds, one missing them by inches. Daniel gripped the seat as everything shook around him. The view outside was chaos, flashes of light, smoke, and explosions. Can we outrun them? Daniel yelled. Not for long, she said, her voice tight. But maybe we can make them see what they've forgotten. Before he could ask what she meant, she pressed her hand to the console. The lights in the cockpit dimmed, and a pulse of blue energy rippled through the ship. What did you just do? I sent the bond signal to every council channel, she said. They'll see the truth of what we are. The ship rocked again as a beam hit their right side. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Daniel coughed, choking on the smoke. You call this a plan? Serenia didn't answer. She slammed a button and the ship dove sharply downward. The clouds broke apart as they plunged toward a massive desert stretching across the surface. Hold on. she shouted. The ship crashed into the sand, sliding for hundreds of meters before finally stopping. Everything went silent except for the hiss of steam and the crackle of burning metal. Daniel groaned, his body aching. "You call that landing?" "It was survival," she said, already unbuckling. "They'll land soon. We have minutes." He looked around, dizzy. "And then what?" "We can't fight a whole fleet." Serena's gaze met his, fierce and unshaken. "No, but we can show them why the match system still fears humans." She pulled something from a hidden compartment, a small metallic sphere pulsing with blue light. "What's that?" Daniel asked. "The core of my ship's heart. It carries our bond's energy signature. If they destroy me, it will erase both of us. But if you use it correctly—" She paused, stepping closer. "It will show them the truth." Daniel stared at her. "You're asking me to fight them?" "No," she said softly. "I'm asking you to stand with me." The sound of engines roared overhead as the golden ships descended. Dust swirled, forming storms of sand around them. Serena stepped forward, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. "Your duties." "Human," she said, handing him the glowing core. "Begin now." Daniel took it, feeling its warmth pulse in sync with his heartbeat. The moment his fingers closed around it, he felt Serena's presence inside his mind again strong. Fierce, unyielding dot above them, the council ships opened their hatches, and soldiers in gleaming armor began to descend. The ground trembled under their boots. Serena looked at Daniel one last time. "Whatever happens next, do not run." He nodded, fear and determination mixing inside him. "Not anymore." As the alien troops surrounded them, Serena raised her hand, light flaring around her. The bond between them pulsed brighter than the desert sun. For the first time, Daniel understood what she meant by unity. Their lives, their strength, their fate one and the same. The war wasn't over. It was only now beginning. The desert stretched endlessly under a blood-red sky. The golden council ships hovered above, their shadows cutting across the sand like blades. Daniel stood beside Serena, the glowing sphere clutched tightly in his hand. The air around them vibrated with energy. Serena's armor reformed over her body, plates of silver sliding into place with mechanical precision. Her white hair whipped in the hot wind. Her glowing eyes locked onto the descending soldiers, dozens of them, armored in gold, their weapons humming with light. "Final warning. Commander Serena," the leader called through his speaker. "Relinquish the human and surrender the bond core. Your rebellion ends here." Serena's voice rang clear and cold. The council forgot what unity means. You replaced balance with fear. You will not erase what we are. Daniel felt the sphere pulse in his hands, each beat syncing with his heart. The connection between them deepened. He could feel her emotions, her anger, her pride, and something else underneath it, something that was neither command nor duty. The first beam of light came suddenly. A blast hit the ground near them, sending up a storm of sand. Daniel stumbled back, but Serena didn't move. She raised her hand, and a shimmering field of blue light spread out, forming a shield that curved around them both. "How long can you hold it?" Daniel asked. Her voice was steady. "As long as you believe in it." He blinked. "Believe?" "Yes, the bond listens to both of us. It draws from faith, not strength." He looked at the glowing sphere again, feeling it hum against his palm. The light inside began to swirl faster, brighter, almost alive. More blasts hit the shield, shaking the air, but the light only grew stronger. Serena glanced at him and smiled faintly, a rare, almost human smile. "Good, you're learning." The council soldiers advanced, weapons raised. Dozens of them formed a circle, closing in from all sides. The leader's voice boomed again. "So be it. The council decrees your sentence." The soldiers fired in unison. Beams of white light tore through the air, slamming against the shield. The impact blinded Daniel for a moment. He could feel the strain, the pressure, like fire pressing into his chest. Serenia! He shouted that her voice echoed inside his mind, calm and strong. Focus, Daniel. Don't fight the bond, become it. He closed his eyes. The world around him vanished into a rush of sound and color. He felt her heartbeat, her pulse, her breath. The line between human and alien blurred. Their thoughts merged like fire and wind. When he opened his eyes again, everything was different. The blue shield had turned golden, blazing brighter than the sun. The sand beneath them glowed as if alive. The soldiers froze, blinded by the light. Serenia stepped forward, her voice echoing across the battlefield. You see now. A human bond is not a mistake. It is power pure and untamed. Daniel felt the light rise higher, surrounding them both. The golden ships above tried to retreat, but the energy spread faster than they could escape. In one blinding pulse, every ship went dark. Engines failed. Weapons fell silent. The desert grew still again. When the light faded, Daniel dropped to his knees, exhausted. His vision swam, but Serenia was still standing, her armor dimming. The glow in her eyes softened as she looked at him. You did it, she said quietly. He laughed weakly. Pretty sure you did most of the work. She shook her head. No, the bond responded to you. It chose its own path. The Council will think twice before judging humanity again. Daniel looked up at the sky. The massive ships hung there, powerless. The war that had started above Earth was ending in silence. So what happens now? Serenia looked toward the horizon. Now we rebuild. The Council will not forgive me, but they will remember this day. She paused, her gaze softening. You could return to your people if you wish. The bond no longer forces you. Daniel stood slowly, brushing the sand from his clothes. And leave you to face them alone? Not happening. A flicker of surprise crossed her face, then a small, real smile. You're either brave or foolish. Probably both, he said, grinning tiredly. Guess that's the human side of this match. For a moment, neither spoke. The wind carried only the whisper of sand. The tension that had followed them since their first meeting faded into something warmer: trust, forged through chaos and survival. Serenia extended her hand. Then come, partner of Earth. The galaxy awaits its lesson. Daniel took her hand without hesitation. The moment their palms met, the bond pulsed again, not in warning but in harmony. The faint hum of power surrounded them, not violent this time, but calm, like two hearts finding rhythm after the storm. As they walked toward the wrecked horizon, the light of dawn began to break through the red clouds. The first golden rays touched the sand, glinting off her armor and the faint scars on his hands. Together, they had ended a war neither of them started. Together, they had proven that unity was more than law, it was choice. And as the rising sun cast their shadows long across the desert, Serenia turned to him once more, her voice softer than ever. Your duties, human, she said with a quiet smile, are complete. Daniel looked at her and shook his head. No, they're just beginning. The ship's engines hummed to life behind them, lifting into the sky once more. The wind carried the echoes of a new dawn, one that belonged to both human and alien.